6-year-old Hidayat's trip to the amazing zoo. Hidayat, a whirlwind of giggles and boundless energy, bounced in his seat like a bouncy ball. Today was the day. He was finally going to the zoo. He'd been counting down the days, weeks even, ever since his mama promised him this exciting adventure. He clutched his favorite stuffed monkey, Miko, tightly, Miko's button eye winking mischievously as Hidayat imagined all the incredible creatures they were about to see. The zoo gate swung open, revealing a vibrant kaleidoscope of colors and sounds. Hidayat's eyes widened. First up were the playful monkeys. They swung from branch to branch, chattering and playfully chasing each other, a mirror image of Hidayat's own energetic spirit. He giggled, pointing excitedly at a monkey who looked remarkably like Miko, only much, much bigger and hairier. Next, they visited the majestic lions. Hidayat, initially a little scared by their enormous size and roars, quickly found himself captivated. He learned that lions were the kings of the jungle, powerful but also surprisingly sleepy most of the time. Just like his grumpy grandpa, the giraffes were a marvel. Their long necks reached high above, almost touching the clouds, Hidayat thought. He stretched his own neck, trying to reach as high as them, a tiny human reaching for the sky. He learned that giraffes were the tallest animals in the world, a fact he proudly shared with his mama. The playful penguins were a delightful surprise. Waddling and sliding on their bellies, they seemed to be having the best time. Hidayat found their clumsy grace incredibly funny, and he spent a long time watching them, mimicking their wobbly walk. The highlight of the day, however, was the elephant. It was enormous. Hidayat gasped as the elephant gracefully used its trunk to pick up a large bunch of leaves. He imagined himself riding on its back, traveling to faraway lands, a tiny adventurer on a giant, gentle steed. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Hidayat, tired but exhilarated, held Miko tightly. He was buzzing with excitement from his amazing zoo adventure. He'd seen roaring lions, playful monkeys, elegant giraffes, and even clumsy penguins. But most importantly, he'd learned so much about animals and discovered a whole new world of wonder. That night, as he drifted off to sleep, he dreamed of swinging through trees with the monkeys, a smile plastered across his face. The zoo adventure was undoubtedly the best day ever. Laras, a 6-year-old whirlwind of giggles and mischief, was bursting with excitement. Why? Because she finally had a kitten. Tiny Mittens, a ball of fluffy grey fur with eyes like sparkling emeralds, had arrived, transforming Laras's world into a perfect paradise. This wasn't just a pet. It was a tiny, furry best friend. Getting Mittens was a big adventure in itself. Laras had begged and pleaded with her parents for weeks, promising to be the best kitten owner the world had ever seen. She drew pictures of Mittens playing with yarn balls, sleeping in sunbeams, and even wearing a tiny, knitted hat, which thankfully Mittens never actually wore. Finally, her parents relented, and the day Mittens arrived was filled with squeals of delight and clumsy hugs. The first few days were a blur of play. Laras, with the boundless energy only a 6-year-old possesses, chased Mittens around the living room, giggling as the kitten tumbled over its own paws. They played hide and seek behind curtains, battled with feather wands, and snuggled together during afternoon naps. Laras learned quickly that Mittens preferred soft strokes behind the ears and absolutely hated having its tail pulled. A lesson learned the hard way: taking care of Mittens wasn't always easy. Cleaning the litter box wasn't exactly Laras's favorite chore, but she diligently scooped it out each day, remembering her promise to be a responsible pet owner. Feeding Mittens was a different story. It involved a lot of adorable meows and frantic paw pats on Laras's legs, and sometimes, especially when Mittens decided to use Laras's favorite doll as a scratching post, there were moments of frustration. But even then, one look at Mittens' sweet face was enough to melt Laras's heart. Learning to care for Mittens taught Laras valuable lessons about responsibility, patience, and the unconditional love a pet can offer. She learned the importance of routine, the joy of nurturing a living creature, and the satisfaction of seeing her hard work pay off in the form of a happy, healthy kitten. She also learned that sometimes even the most mischievous kitten deserves a cuddle. Laras's life, once full of just crayons and toys, was now filled with the soft purrs and playful antics of her little grey friend. The bond between 6-year-old Laras and her kitten, Mittens, wasn't just a playful friendship. It was a beautiful testament to the love and responsibility that comes with caring for a pet. It was a reminder that even the smallest of creatures can bring immense joy to a child's life, turning ordinary days into extraordinary adventures. 6-year-old Rendi was a whirlwind of energy, a tiny tornado with a heart as big as the sky. One sunny afternoon, while exploring his grandmother's sprawling garden, a tiny flutter caught his eye. A little bird, barely bigger than his thumb, lay injured on the grass, its wing drooping sadly. This wasn't just any bird. This was an adventure waiting to happen. Thus began Rendi's heartwarming tale of caring for a fallen feathered friend. Rendi, despite his age, acted with a surprising maturity. He carefully scooped up the bird, his small hands trembling with a mixture of excitement and concern. He didn't run to his mom screaming. Instead, he remembered his grandma's gentle lessons about nature. He knew the bird needed help, and he was determined to provide it. First, he gently placed the tiny creature in a shoebox, lining it with a soft, old t-shirt. He imagined the bird was a sleepy baby, needing a cozy nest. His next challenge was food. He remembered seeing his grandma feed the birds outside, scattering crumbs. He carefully crushed up some bread, making sure the pieces were small enough for the tiny beak. He even added a drop of water, mimicking what he'd seen his grandma do. The act of caring for the bird filled Rendi with a sense of responsibility and purpose. He checked on the bird every hour, whispering encouraging words like, "You'll be okay, little one." He treated the bird as a special guest, keeping the box in a quiet corner of his room. Over the next few days, Rendi's playful nature shone through. He named the bird Pip, and he would sing silly songs to him, tell him stories about his toys, and even share his favorite cartoon shows. Pip seemed to especially enjoy the chase scenes. Pip, in response, chirped weakly at first, then with increasing strength. His wings slowly started to improve. Rendi's unwavering care and gentle touch worked wonders. Finally, the day arrived when Pip was strong enough to fly. Rendi, with a mixture of sadness and joy, opened the shoebox and gently nudged Pip towards the open window. Pip hesitated for a moment, then, with a burst of energy, took flight, soaring into the bright sky. Rendi watched, his heart filled with pride and a quiet happiness. He had saved a life, and in doing so, learned a valuable lesson about compassion and the wonder of nature. His playful adventure with Pip taught him that even the smallest among us can make a big difference. The memory of Pip's flight would always stay with him, a reminder of the power of kindness and care. Irwan, a 6-year-old whirlwind of energy, wasn't your average 6-year-old. While other kids his age were busy playing with toys, Irwan was helping his older sister, Maya, sell snacks at the bustling local market. It wasn't exactly a glamorous job, but for Irwan, it was an adventure. His first task was the most important, making sure Maya's colourful stall was eye-catching. He'd meticulously arrange the bright red apples, plump oranges, and crunchy peanuts, creating a miniature rainbow of deliciousness. Sometimes, a mischievous glint in his eye, he'd even sneak a tiny taste of a ripe mango, a secret only he and the mangoes knew about. Maya, though initially hesitant about letting him help, quickly realized Irwan was surprisingly helpful. Irwan wasn't just a pretty face arranging fruits. He had a knack for attracting customers. His infectious giggle and cheerful "Selamat pagi, Ibu," "Good morning, ma'am," charmed even the grumpiest shoppers. He'd proudly hold up a juicy orange, showcasing its perfect roundness, or offer a playful wink when handing over the change. One day, a little girl was crying because she didn't have enough money for a sweet treat. Irwan, with his own small savings, offered her a delicious peanut cookie, making both the little girl and her mother smile. Irwan's biggest contribution, however, was his talent for entertaining the younger shoppers. He'd tell silly jokes, his eyes sparkling with mischief, or perform little magic tricks with the brightly colored candies. He'd even make up stories about the fruits, whispering tales of adventurous mangoes who sailed across the sea, or brave oranges who climbed the tallest trees. These impromptu performances kept the children entertained, ensuring their parents lingered at Maya's stall longer, leading to more sales. By the end of each market day, Irwan wouldn't just be tired, he'd be bursting with pride. He hadn't just helped Maya, he'd learned about hard work, the joy of helping others, and the magic of a simple smile. He'd earned a little pocket money too, which he'd carefully save, dreaming of buying a bright red fire truck toy. Irwan's story shows that even the smallest of us can make a big difference. His playful spirit and willingness to help transformed a simple task into a fun-filled adventure, proving that work can be exciting, rewarding, and filled with laughter, especially when shared with family. And who knows, maybe one day Irwan's own market stall will be the most colorful and cheerful in town, all thanks to his early lessons in the art of selling and the power of a smile. Chandra, a spunky 6-year-old with a mop of unruly black hair, bounced on his toes. Today was the day. His first day of school. He'd spent weeks excitedly practicing his ABCs and counting to 20, his tiny fingers tracing the numbers on his worn-out alphabet book. His brand new backpack, a bright red superhero cape emblazoned across it, felt heavy with the weight of anticipation. This wasn't just any day, it was a grand adventure. Chandra's mum, a whirlwind of morning chaos, helped him into his crisp, new uniform. It felt a little scratchy, but the bright blue shirt made him feel important, like a tiny superhero himself. He clutched his favorite stuffed elephant, Elfie, a well-loved companion who'd seen him through countless bedtime stories and imaginary tea parties. Elfie, however, was strictly a homebody. School rules were school rules. The walk to school was a spectacle. Every little thing, a ladybug crawling on a leaf, a fluffy dog chasing its tail, captivated his attention. He pointed at everything, chattering excitedly to his mum about the wonders of the world. He even tried to race a snail, much to his mum's amused observation. Reaching the school gates felt like arriving at a magical kingdom. The colorful building seemed to shimmer with possibilities. Inside, a cacophony of sounds greeted him. Children's laughter, the murmur of teachers' voices, and the rhythmic tapping of tiny feet. Chandra, initially a little shy, quickly found himself engrossed in a building block tower. His initial apprehension melting away as he joined a group of giggling children. He discovered that making a tower wasn't just about stacking blocks, it was about teamwork and collaboration. He learned that sharing his blocks meant making new friends. The first day whizzed by in a flurry of colorful crayons, funny stories, and the thrill of learning new things. Learning the alphabet wasn't a chore, but a game. Counting wasn't tedious, but an exciting challenge. He discovered the joy of sharing and cooperating, and the comfort of being surrounded by other children. When his mom arrived to pick him up, he was beaming, a bright, infectious smile illuminating his face. As they walked home, Chandra recounted his day with breathless enthusiasm, his words tumbling over each other in his eagerness to share every detail. The red superhero backpack felt lighter now, carrying the weight not of anticipation, but of a day filled with wonder, friendship, and the exciting beginning of his school journey. Chandra knew, with absolute certainty, that school wasn't just a place to learn. It was a place to grow, to play, and to discover the amazing person he was meant to be. And that was a truly super adventure. 6-year-old Wahyu's eyes, the color of melted chocolate, were wide with wonder. Today wasn't just any day. Today, Wahyu was visiting the fire station. It was a dream come true, a shimmering beacon of excitement in his otherwise ordinary life. This wasn't a trip to the playground or the ice cream shop. This was a journey to the heart of heroic action, a place where brave firefighters fought fires and saved lives. The first thing that hit Wahyu was the noise. A cacophony of beeping and buzzing filled the air. Fire trucks, big and red like giant toys, stood gleaming in the sun. A friendly firefighter, whose smile was as bright as the reflective stripes on his uniform, greeted Wahyu with a warm "Selamat datang," welcome. Wahyu, initially shy, quickly forgot his nerves as the firefighter showed him around. He got to sit in the driver's seat of a fire truck. It was even bigger and more impressive up close. The steering wheel was enormous, and all the buttons and levers looked like they belonged in a spaceship. The firefighter explained how the sirens worked, how the water hoses were so powerful they could put out even the biggest flames, and how important it was to always be careful with fire. Wahyu listened, captivated, his imagination soaring with tales of daring rescues and valiant firefighting. Then came the best part. The firefighter showed Wahyu the firehouse's Dalmatian, a playful dog named Sparky. Sparky, with his shiny coat and wagging tail, became Wahyu's instant best friend. They played fetch with a bright red fire hydrant shaped like a toy. A smaller, safer version, of course. Wahyu even got to try on a tiny firefighter helmet, which made him feel like a miniature superhero. The visit ended too soon, but Wahyu left with a heart full of joy and a head brimming with exciting stories. He learned about the importance of fire safety, the bravery of firefighters, and the unexpected fun of visiting a place he'd only dreamed of. He clutched his small fire truck sticker, a souvenir from his amazing adventure, as he walked home, already planning his next visit. This wasn't just a trip to the fire station. It was a day that ignited a spark of wonder and admiration in Wahyu's young heart, a memory that would forever be etched in his mind as one of the best days of his life.